Hey guys, so I just got through watching an episode of Little House on the Prairie. I know, right? My husband has been on this Little House on the Prairie kick, and he's been enjoying the episodes, and he's been having me join in and watch them with him. And the particular one we just got through watching, he had sent me a text while I was at work last night, and he said, "Oh, we gotta watch this episode of Little House on the Prairie," because, he was very touched, moved by it. So I'm like, okay, great, I look forward to it. So we just got through watching it, and, it's like you just can't find good, wholesome TV like that anymore, really. I know I used to watch it back in the day, and I didn't really just catch the meaning of what it was actually, talking about per se. It was just more or less just something to watch. But as I've been watching them now, it's just like so many lessons that, you can learn from it. And this particular one that we had watched today, it was so I guess it had been where they normally, Walnut Grove, where they normally live, it had been doing a lot of raining, and the weather and stuff was not good, so their crops and whatever stuff was kind of like a famine or something, so they had to leave and go somewhere else to try to get food and just kind of survive and live. So they went to another town, and well, they went through several towns actually, but they finally came to this one town, and apparently it was known for, gold. So you could like pan for gold, and everyone was gonna try to get rich. So, they didn't have to work the field anymore or anything like that, but they'll get rich, strike it rich, and then just go live the luxury life. So yeah, so the Ingalls were, set on, trying to get this gold so they could have a better life. And then they had another family that was with them that had come along as well. But Laura, she had went to, she's always, lingering off somewhere, but she had went a distance from where they were panning for gold, and she had stumbled across this place that looked like gold mines, which, they actually were. But there was this old man that you would consider in this day and age homeless guy. I think in the movie he was referred to from Laura's dad as a hermit. But anyway, he was, he looked really scroungy, um, he looked really scroungy and stuff. He just looked kind of crazy. Not kind of, he looked crazy. But anyway, he apparently had this gold at these gold mines because he had a wife that he was trying to acquire all this gold for her to make her happy. So anyway, his wife had died. So Laura had went to him and was saying, hey, our Paul, because there was another kid with her, and that's why I'm saying our Paul. So their Paul was out trying to, pan for gold so they could strike it rich. And he said, people change, when stuff like that happens, like when they get money or whatever, and they get greedy and they want more and more and more, and they're just never satisfied. he said, I can't say it word for word what he said, but basically the gist of it, was they may start off as good people, but their desire to get this gold, and once they acquire this gold, they're just never satisfied because they just continually want more and more. And so basically, he had learned this, lesson because, as I said, he was trying to acquire gold to get his wife these nice luxuries. Well, his wife would tell him, like, to stop. Don't we have enough? Haven't we gotten enough? And so he kept, trying to get more and more. And he says, he only did it because he was just trying to give, her nice things. But sadly, one night she died. So it's like all this wealth that he had acquired for her, um, it did. He's like saying it doesn't even matter anymore because he was doing it for her and now she's gone. So basically, he just had this gold stored up in these mines, gold mines that he had built, and so you would never known that he had this gold because of the way he looked and where he was living. It was just, yeah, you just would never know. Um, so anyway, Laura had went back to town and she had shared it, and then it got around town, and so uh, one of the men's or some of the men that were panning for gold, found out that there's gold at these gold mines, and so they went and got it. And so that was something that he was just kind of treasuring, even though his wife was dead, but it was just kind of like he had it there, for her. He wasn't like living off of it or anything, but it was just there, I guess, in memory of her. And so they had found out, these men, and they had come there and started taking this gold. And he was very sad and distraught about it. And so when Laura came back to see him, he was telling her, you told them, you told them. And Laura said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And she didn't mean to, but, he was, he said, I tried to tell you how they were, how people will be, they will start off good, but this will just make them just change. He said it changes people and it's not good. They become hateful, they become mean, and there's just so much sorrow. And so Laura felt really bad, and you can see the tear from her eyes. So she ran away crying, and then her Paul found her, and because the last thing he told Laura, he said, get out, just leave. Because he was, like I say, he was very distraught about these men now coming up on the gold mine that he had kind of reserved for in memory of his wife. So now that was stripped from him. So he just basically just, at this point, wanted to just give up and die. And that's pretty much basically what he did, because when Laura's dad went to check on him, where he was at, the place was on fire, and apparently he was in there, so pretty much couldn't come to the conclusion that he died in the fire. And so he had a rock, the guy that died had a rock that he had put in this creek where they had been panning for the gold. He had put it in the creek with his wife's name on it, which her name was Lorraine. And it's funny, well, it's not funny, but when Laura said, don't you want to go pan for gold? We'll help you. And he said, what I want is beneath, in the creek. Don't you want to go pan for gold in the creek? Because they was in the creek panning for it. And then he said, what I want is under the creek. Well, basically Laura, that rock was not Laura, Lorraine, his wife, that was a symbolism of his wife, this rock that he had put in the water in the creek where they were actually panning for gold. So anyway, like I said, he died because he was so saddened and distraught over what had happened and how the men had came and disturbed, what he had, kind of like a memorial set up for his wife. And so Charles, uh, grafted out on another rock and his name was Zachariah. And so he put it in the creek next to her, and so you had two rocks, and it was him and her, Zachariah and Lorraine. And so basically, the last the scene of this episode is because Charles had gotten, his wife was wanting to go back home, and Charles had gotten to where he was, just trying to get this gold and just, losing focus of what was important and just going after the gold, because some people were actually finding gold. And there was a particular guy that they had become good neighbors with while they had stayed settled in this town where they was panning for this gold. But he had been running his mouth a lot about this gold, but he wouldn't tell anyone where it was at. And so I guess they finally got mad at him, and he got shot and he was killed. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff going on in this little movie here, this little show, but with great significance. But anyway, so like I say, Charles, he was getting to the point where he was just trying to get this gold and was just losing focus of family and stuff. So the when he came to see about the man that Laura, was telling him, to go check on, and then he found him, found his house burning up. That's when he got this revelation, that, hey, the real wealth is not in this gold, but it is in family, and it's in health, and it's just in your faith, just knowing God and stuff. So he got up and spoke that in the church, and everybody was just kind of like, kind of dumbfounded or whatever. He said, how many of you prayed to God that you would, strike it rich from this gold? And so no one raised their hands. And he said, oh, come on. If one place you're going to be honest, you need to be honest in the church. And so a few people started raising their hands, and he said, yeah, that's more like it. He said, well, I'm going to tell you, I prayed for that. But he said, now I understand what's really important. And of course, like I said, it wasn't the goal that he was after, but it was just having family and health and, enjoying happiness, and having faith. And so the preacher, when they panned the camera to him, he was just like, it's just like, sometimes preachers will get so, the word is not impressed that I'm looking for, but they get so touched, I guess I could say. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for either, but I think I can make sense of what I'm trying to say. But he was just stunned, like, wow, so everybody was just kind of at a loss of words. But his wife, she was just as happy as a lark, because she had been wanting this, and she had been wanting to go home. And so they were finally going to be going home and leaving that where they was trying to get this gold and acquire wealth and riches. And so yeah, the preacher gets up and he just says amen. And then as the show is ending, they're driving off headed back home, and they run into some other people. And then the other people are saying, because they're coming now, because they've heard about, hey, there's gold here. So Charles and his wife and the other couple that was with them, they didn't tell them not to go, because he said, did y'all strike it rich or something, to the sense like, did y'all find gold? And Charles said, yeah, but it wasn't the gold that they're thinking. It was like, yeah, he found gold in the sense that I got my family, I got my friends, I got my loved ones, I got my health, I got my faith. So that was the gold that he was talking about. And so the guy that was traveling with him said, well, you didn't want to tell him? He said, oh, well, it probably wasn't going to do any good, because they were still, set on going there. Their minds were determined, to go get this gold. But yeah, I hope you could understand what I was saying. I tried to, it was like an hour show, because it was 30-minute episode on one, and then it was a continuation of another 30-minute episode. But yeah, like I say, my husband's been watching Little House on the Prairie, and yeah, I mean, it's like I can't hardly watch TV nowadays, because it's just pretty much crap that's on TV. And just watching these episodes of Little House on the Prairie, I've just also been getting so much, meaning out of it. And it's just like how God can speak through in any situation, any circumstance, by any means necessary. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all. I had to come outside. I went to my backyard, but there's my neighbors are in their backyard, and they were talking, and I could hear them talking, and so I couldn't do my video back there because it was going to be a distraction because I could clearly hear them talking. And so I just came out front. But anyway, guys, that's all I wanted. Thank you for taking the time out to watch the video, and I will see you all in my next one. Peace.
Silver and gold, silver and gold. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. No fame or fame or fortune, no riches untold. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold.